Hi, in this video, I'll show you how to add and subtract the complex numbers. But before we do that, I want to show you how do we come up with an imaginary number. So suppose if I have x square plus 1 is equal to 0. Now we want x by itself, so we can subtract 1 on both the sides. These two cancel out each other, so the left hand side we have x squared is equal to -1. Now since we want x by itself, we have to take the square root to get rid of the square. So this becomes square root of x squared, which is equal to square root of -1. Now x squared is a perfect square of x, so we can write here as x is equal to square root of -1. Now what number multiplied by itself to give you -1? Well, I can't think of such number. In the real number system, we don't have a number which is multiplied by itself to give us -1. So then we have to look into the imaginary number system. So that's how we come with an imaginary number. Came up with an imaginary number. So this is I. I stands for the imaginary number. So the value of I is equal to square root of -1. Now, what is the value of I square? What could be the value of I square? I square will be just the square root of -1 whole square, which is equal to -1. What will be the value of I to the power 3? So I can write I cube as I square times I. Now what is the value of I square? It's -1. And what is the value of I? It's square root of -1. Now I don't have to write 1 in front of this. So I can just write this as negative times negative square root of 1. And this is negative, and square root of -1 will be I. So I to the power 3 can be written as -I. Now let's see what is I to the power 4. So I to the power 4 can be written as I square times I square. The value of I square is -1. So this will be -1 times -1, which is equal to +1. So I to the power 4 is equal to +1. Now I'm showing you these values because we'll have to work on this. So let's say if I ask you to find what is the value of I to the power 20. So what you do is you have to take the help of the values which we already know and find the value of I to the power 20. So we can write this as I square the whole raised to the power 10, because we know that this is the law of exponents. When a to the power m, the whole raised to the power n is equal to a m times n. You just multiply the powers. So this is another way of representing. This is just another way of representing. So I square the whole to the power 10 is equal to I to the power 20. So I square is, what is the value of I square? I square is -1, and this is whole raised to the power 10. Now, you have to remember that any negative number, when any negative number has a power which is even, then you always end up with the positive number. And any negative number which has an odd power gives you the negative number. So -1 to the power 10, since 10 is an even number, you will always get the positive number. So -1 to the power 10 will be +1, sorry. So, well, you can do this mentally, but still you gotta get the same answer. So suppose if you have -1 to the power 9. Now since 9 is an odd number, you will get -1. So whenever you have odd power, you get the negative number if you have negative number inside the parentheses. And whenever you have the negative number and you have even power, you always get the positive number. Now, I can show you a simple way to do it. This is also a way, but I can show you a more simple way to do it. So if you have I to the power 20, you only take the power. So you take 20 and then you divide that by 4. So 4 times, how many times does 20 goes into 4? So 4 times 5 will be 20. Now, you only have to look at the remainder. Only focus on the remainder. The remainder is 0. That means I to the power 20 is the same as I to the power 0. Now we know that anything raised to the power 0 other than 0 is always 1. This is another law of exponents. So I to the power 0 is 1. So I to the power 20 can be written as I to the power 0, and this is equal to 1. You have to remember, whatever the power is, you have to always divide that by 4 and only look at the remainder. Now let's see another example. So this time I have I to the power 37. Now let's divide the power by 4. 37 divided by 4. Now, how many times 37 goes into 4? 4 times 9 will be 36. Now I have to subtract 7 minus 6 is 1. Now only look at the remainder. Only focus at the remainder. So I to the power 37 can be written as I to the power 1. And this is equal to, anything to the power 1 is just I. So I to the power 1 is equal to I. And the value of I is square root of -1. There you go. Now, suppose if I give you I to the power 24. Now let's solve this. So 24 divided by 4. Now 24, 4 times what is 24? 4 times 6 is 24. So you get 0 here. Again, you have the 0 remainder. So I to the power 24 can be written as I to the power 0. And anything to the power 0 other than 0 will be just 1. Okay. So now let's solve this example. I have 12 minus I to the power 20 plus negative 18 minus 4 I to the power 18. Let's solve this. Okay. Addition is really simple. You only have to combine the like terms. Addition, subtraction, you just have to combine the like terms. But before we add this expression, we have to replace each occurrence of I to the power n in the expressions with the simplified version. So let's do that first. So let's find the value of I to the power 20. So I to the power 20. So we'll take 20 and then divide that by 4. 4 times 5 will be 20 and we'll get the 0 remainder. So this will be equal to I to the power 20 will be equal to I to the power 0. And this will be equal to 1. And then we have I to the power 18. So let's solve this. I to the power 18. Let's divide 18 by 4. 4 times 4 will be 16 and we get the remainder as 2. So I to the power 18 can be written as I square, and we know that the value of I square is -1. So let's plug in the values here. So we have 12 minus I to the power 20 is 1. So we'll write 1 here. Now plus times minus will be minus, and then we have 18. And then positive times negative will again be negative. And then 4, I to the power 18 is equal to -1. So we just plug in the value here. Now we have 12 minus 1 minus 18. And then negative times negative. So -4 times -1 will be +4. Now 12 minus 1 will be 11. 11 minus 18 plus 4. 11 plus 4 will be 15, and 15 minus 18 will be -3. So the final answer will be -3.